Alan Simpson was 12 years old when he and fellow members of a church group stepped guardedly through the barbed wire gate at the Heart Mountain Relocation Center near Ralston, 12 miles east of Cody. Inside were nearly 11,000 Americans of Japanese heritage forcefully transplanted from their homes in the western United States by the government in the wake of the Japanese bombing of Pearl Harbor. Most were U.S. citizens. Al somberly recalls the anti-Japanese hysteria of the day, and the towns throughout America, including Cody, routinely conducted air attack drills. When the sirens went off at night, Al and Pete helped their parents cover or extinguish any lights that might be seen from the sky. He said, "We were always watching for enemy planes, Japanese planes." That day at the Jap camp, as it was known locally, Al visited hesitantly with a few internees his age, holding back fear that their relatives in Japan might be planning an attack on Cody. But what, he wondered, had these children done wrong? Why were they caged behind barbed wire fences? Not long afterward, Cody's junior high school principal joined the Simpson boys' scoutmaster in arranging a second trip to the camp. In 2009, Al's brother Pete described it. Principal Glenn Livingston and our coach Bill Waller were two of the most profoundly influential men on young boys growing up in Cody. Glenn's talk to us was, and I paraphrase, "Boys, we're going to have a day with the Boy Scouts at the relocation center. They're Japanese Americans. They pledge allegiance to the flag just like we do. They swear the same Boy Scout oath. They use the same salute. They wear the same uniform. We're going there to learn more about them and to teach them some things about ourselves. We'll have a great day." At the camp, they encountered a boy wearing a similar uniform. His name was Norman Y. Mineta. Al remembers him as a bright, curious, fun-loving, knot-tying, pesky, rambunctious young scout. And the two became friends and stayed in touch by mail long after the war ended and the camp was abandoned. Neither dreamed that one would become a U.S. Senator, the other a member of the U.S. House of Representatives and U.S. Secretary of both Transportation and Commerce. Both also became members of the Smithsonian Institution Board of Regents. Al characterizes their chance meeting as one of the profound lessons shaping my life. In 1999, during a banquet meeting of the Heart Mountain, Wyoming Foundation, he described himself as having been, quote, "a child torn between two cultures." One he had always known, but Japan represented a threat to his country. He told the crowd, "My trip here from Cody was 12.5 miles. Then he turned to his old friend Norm Mineta and added, "It was so much longer and more painful for you." In a 2006 interview for the Academy of Achievement, a museum of living history in Washington, D.C., Mineta explained how he and Al reconnected after they had fallen out of touch. "I was elected mayor of San Jose, California, and the Associated Press had a short story about me being elected. It read, 'Mineta was one of 120,000 Japanese Americans evacuated and interned in camps during World War II. He and his family were at Heart Mountain, Wyoming.' Well, the Cody Enterprise picked up on the story. Al was practicing law in Cody, and the next thing I know, I get a note. 'Dear Norm, congratulations on being elected mayor of San Jose. I've been wondering what the heck you've been up to all these years.' In 1974, I got elected to the Congress, and in 1978, he got elected to the United States Senate. Our friendship went back together as if we were sitting in that pup tent in 1943. The Heart Mountain campsite is recognized by the Department of the Interior as a National Historic Landmark, a status held by only 4% of the properties listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Legislation is pending to include the site in the National Park System. In June 2007, Mineta and Simpson stood side by side at the campsite, proudly announcing plans by the Heart Mountain, Wyoming Foundation to build an 11,000-square-foot interpretive learning center. In August 2009, the two met again at Heart Mountain in public celebration of the center's progress. Mineta told those present, some of whom had also been rounded up by their own government, that he would never forget May 29, 1942, when his family was forced from their California home and onto a train. When they reached their tar paper barracks home at the foot of Heart Mountain, They found it surrounded by barbed wire and guarded by soldiers, and their guns were facing in. When he concluded, his old friend Al Simpson rose and walked toward the podium. He paused to peer through a doorway and noticed that a soaking rain was falling on the mountain. Reflecting on Minetta's story, he turned to the crowd and said somberly, "I think Heart Mountain is crying."